Welcome to the Martial Arts and Life podcast with United States Martial Art Hall of Fame member, nationally board-certified life coach, and multi-award-winning author, Kris Wilder.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Martial Arts and Life. I hope your day is going well, your evening, your afternoon, and of course your tea time. I'm Kris Wilder, and I'm your host. Today, we're going to look at the statement that I've heard from martial artists for years, and the one you've heard as well. And it is not, well, it's not the style that makes the person, it's the person that makes it. No, we're not going to do that one. We're going to do this one. I don't teach kids. I do not hold that statement in good light. I don't teach kids karate. I think karate in the United States, to a large degree, is a sport. In fact, I'd even go so far as to say that it's more of an activity. Now, there's a difference between sport and activity, but sometimes we haven't delineated this very well. And I think a great way to look at it is the way that my cousin's son looked at cross country. This kid is not built for cross country. He is a wrestler. He is a football player type body. And he went out for cross country because he called it an activity. He enjoyed the social aspects of it, really wasn't into the competition. He was just into the running, and he enjoyed that. And that's the difference between a sport and an activity. A sport is about winning, competition. An activity is about the moment, the engagement. And a lot of karate in the United States is an activity supported by not only the students' participation, but also by the parents, because we're talking about kids right now. The parents that pay, that drive the kid to the class, that support with the events or whatever it might be. And, you know, they're good to go, and it's a great thing to see. When we look at this, we can break it down into a lot of different categories, but here's two big buckets. There's the physiological and the social, and we kind of touched on the social a little bit. But from a physiological standpoint, sports is either amateur or professional. Amateur sports can span all ages. You can play again, in the States, you can play baseball, you can play Pee Wee League, Little League, Babe Ruth, Pony. You can go right on up through the ranks. And if you're inclined to, your corporation, your company, whoever you choose to work for, might field a softball team, a co-ed softball team that goes out and plays other corporations in a recreational league. Or you could just join a recreational league. You don't even have to have some corporate sponsor. The point is, amateur sports spans almost all ages. The only ages that it doesn't include are the very young years and the very old years. Professional sports, that has a small window. It is about age, and it's about preparation. If you're playing a collegiate sport, you probably have got maybe double digits of years behind you in regard to that discipline. If you're on the Stanford University gymnastics team as a woman gymnast, you started when you were 4, 5, I don't know, even 3. You started very, very young. And it shows by the time you get to the collegiate level, because you've now got 13, 14 years behind you of, training. And so, although they're even considered amateur by the NC2A rules, they're at a level of professionalism that can't be touched, because they have to treat it as if it is a professional endeavor if they hope to compete at a high level to win the day. So there's the physiological aspect of sports. And when you go pro or you go into the world stage, you have a window, and it's small. And it's designed by nature to be around age and capabilities. Socially, you can do gymnastics forever. So when people say that I don't teach kids karate, well, what are you talking about? Let's talk about kids for a minute. Let's just make an age between 5 and 18. Some instructor announces proudly with hands on hips in the Superman pose, I don't teach kids. All right. Well, why is that? Well, they're not ready for it. Their mind isn't ready for the true capabilities of martial arts. Their bodies aren't mature enough to be able to do the moves the appropriate way. Or it could be something like, I can't reach them. I can't communicate with them. They don't seem to understand what I'm telling them. Well, yeah, I've got some stern words here. A teaching is a gift. There are gifted teachers, and we all had those teachers. We all ran into them in school. And then there were the ones that were sort of in the middle. They weren't really gifted, but boy, they knew their stuff, and they did seem to enjoy it, but they weren't effusive, and they didn't bring that extra juice to the table. And then, of course, we had that teacher that, was just punching the clock and didn't have the teaching gift or wasn't even working towards the teaching gift. Well, if you're standing there and you're saying that you can't reach your students, I think you're that third teacher. You're the one that's not even making an effort. Yeah, I said it. I gotta say it again. Look, if you're standing there and you're saying, I don't teach kids because I can't reach them, yeah, the operative word there is I. It's on you. You're the most responsible person. And I like to go back to a statement that I like to use, and that is that whatever happens on the floor, the most advanced rank is responsible for it. It's kind of along that corporate rule, that legal rule of if I'm an employee of a company and I do something stupid on company time, the company is likely responsible, liable, that kind of thing. Or the classic, the buck stops here. Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. And I have to tell you, it's kind of bit me a couple times where I've had to go, yep, that's on me. I do not want that on me, but it's mine. Now, when somebody says that they can't reach the kids, the kids aren't ready, I can't teach them, well, they're saying that I can't teach them real martial arts. I can't do that. Well, if you're teaching killing, maiming, disemboweling, that's fantastic. I know that sounded strange. If you're teaching killing, maiming, and disemboweling, fantastic. But we all know that martial arts is larger than that. It is the stuff around the edges. And all you need to do is think about that moment where somebody found out you do martial art and they go like, hey, well, have you ever had to use it? Because that's the second question. What's your rank and have you ever had to use it? And oftentimes the reply is, I use it every day. Because that's the stuff around the edges. That's not the killing, maiming, and disemboweling. That's the other things. And I like the Taekwondo tenets. I think they're really solid stuff. And they are, there's 5 of them, traditionally as I learned them. There's courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and indomitable spirit. You know what? I want my kid to have every one of those 5. I want my kid to be courteous because other people will like my child. I want them to have integrity so that they'll know that in their dealings with others, they can be trusted. I want my child to have perseverance, that when the going gets tough, they buckle down and apply themselves and know that there is a way to resolve the issue. I want them to have self-control. Not that they're going to throw a tornado kick into the side of, some other kid's head on the playground, but the ability to have self-control, well, that's the stuff studies are made of by psychologists. And we can agree that having self-control, that builds a better human being. And let's talk about that indomitable spirit. Yeah, I want that kid to say, I didn't just do 20 push-ups, I did 21. Or whatever it might be. You get the picture. I love these 5 tenets of Taekwondo, and I want my kid, I want the neighborhood kids, I want every kid in the school to have that. When I was a young kid, we had a new teacher come in to our school system, and he was teaching the 8th grade. And at the end of the year, he was moving down to, I think, like 2nd grade. And I asked him, I said, well, Mr. Haddock, why are you doing that? And he said, I want to have more influence on the kids. I don't have as much influence with you guys here in the 8th grade as I can have with the younger kids. Wow. That's a guy who understands his responsibility and is diving into it. And it was amazing. Martial arts is an extraordinary value to us. As martial artists, it has changed our lives. It's increased the value. It's, heightened the experience of life. And, boy, you could probably point to more and some very specific things in your world. If you have heard the words, I only teach adults, or I don't teach kids, or if you've even said them, the person who said them is riding a double-edged dagger of failure. You see, you're not sharing. You're not sharing your lessons. You're not sharing your values with those that are ready, willing, and able to model you and your teachings, the tenets. Like I said, I want every kid on the planet to adhere to, understand, and embody those 5 tenets of Taekwondo. You can't argue with them. They're phenomenal. And if you're sitting there and saying that, martial arts is an incredible gift, that, I do my martial arts every day because it's the stuff around the edges. It's the stuff around the edges, the margins, the courtesy, the integrity, the perseverance, the self-control, and the indomitable spirit. Well, you're denying the youngest, most impressionable people who are modeling their adults in their lives. They're modeling them to see how they're supposed to behave, what they're supposed to value, what is important to me as an individual, my family, and my neighbors. Now, I'm not here to change your mind if you don't teach kids. All right. Fine. I don't expect you to have an epiphany, and I don't think that you're going to just spring forward and go, hey, I'm going to go teach kids. Recall the little part we were talking about amateur and pro sports. One of the things you see, and you see this across every pro sport, is you see coaches running clinics for kids. Now, you can be cynical about that, and you can say, well, the ownership is making them do it. Or you could say, well, they're really scouting. Sure, Some university runs a football camp to take a look at some kids and see if maybe there's somebody that they want to have on their team. And no question, baseball, soccer, it's all the same thing. But are they doing that? Are they doing it because the ownership or the institution makes them do it? Are they doing it because they're scouting? No, I'm going to argue with you that they're sharing the love of their sport with those that are most ready to receive the teaching. Is that Pollyanna? Is that, oh, gee, Kris, look at you. Aren't you just a ray of sunshine thinking this? No, I don't see those as mutually exclusive. I can hold all of those ideas in my head at the same time. And I can see one manifest and I can see the other manifest. I can do that. And that is the mark of the flexible instructor. You see, if you're standing there or you've heard it and you're saying, I don't teach kids, you're not very flexible. You don't have the ability to hold multiple ideas in your mind at the same time. Yeah, I know that's a hard indictment. And if it is who you are and the way that you've chosen to comport yourself in the world, you may want to review that. Again, I'm not saying that there's going to be an epiphany here, but maybe it does change your world just a little bit. If you're teaching kids and adults, good on you. That's a wonderful combination. I like a little bit of mayonnaise in my tuna salad. Take the tuna away and I've just got mayonnaise. I'm not keen on a mayonnaise sandwich. And I don't think you are either. I think it sounds horrific. But a little bit of it is a great thing. So if you're teaching adults, teach a little clinic with some kids. Have an opportunity to enjoy them. Maybe the adults, maybe the parents, maybe the uncles are going to bring in their nieces and nephews. I'm just saying expand your world a little bit. Become a little more flexible. Practice your teaching skills so that you can reach people. You can reach people that may not be ready but think they are. That you can reach people that are looking for that juice that's going to make their life come together, that's going to give them a foundation, a framework of courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and indomitable spirit. Kind of whipped through those kind of fast, didn't I? If you're standing around and you're saying, I don't teach kids, I think you should review yourself. And you should say, I would like to do that. I think I'd like to dip my toe into it. Of course, it makes more financial sense. I mean, that's where that is. That's where the world is with martial arts. I can tell you that my studio runs 1/10 are adults. Now, when I say that the rest are kids, they fall between that 5 to 18 years of age. But it's a pyramid. And it's fatter at the bottom, and they're younger. And when you get to the top, it's more narrow, and they're older. And that's just the way the world works. And if you don't think that it's true, I'm going to take you back to a Seinfeld episode from years ago. And that was when Kramer, the next door neighbor, was taking martial arts. He was the only adult in the class. And as he put it, he was dominating in the sparring. Of course he was. And that was the ridiculousness of it. If you go to the TV show The Office, you might remember Dwight Schrute was involved in karate. And he did all of the things that we've done in the past. Hey, let me show you something. Oh, if this happens, you just need to do this. I'm guilty. I've done it. I did that. Maybe taking it a little too seriously. And so what you have is you have two nationally televised situations of comical adults involved in martial arts. Think about that for a minute. It is so much into the consciousness that it can be made fun of. You see, you can't make fun of something publicly unless the public understands it. That's rule number one of comedy. The public has to understand it before you can make fun of it. So here we go. Two of the most popular television shows within their decades making fun of adults involved in martial arts. They don't get it. They don't get it. And I understand they don't get it, and you know that too. The world is predisposed to teaching children karate. And what an opportunity to share with them the value of the martial arts, those 5 tenets, the other tenets that come in other martial arts systems, and the idea of ownership and responsibilities that are taught by, say, the pro soccer coach that's showing up at a clinic for a day. Look, it's where the future lies. And we, as martial arts instructors, have a responsibility to help build that future with integrity, clarity, and value. I'm Kris Wilder, and thanks so much for listening to Martial Arts and Life. I hope that you found it informative. I hope you found it helpful. And thanks. Thanks for the listen. Do me a favor, will you? If you're on a podcast player that allows for a review, like iTunes, please do that. And more importantly, turn a friend on to the Martial Arts and Life podcast. It's not for everybody, but it is for the discerning palate, I suppose. At least I like to think so. So again, thanks for the listen. Please turn a friend on to the Martial Arts and Life podcast. That's the best way that this podcast grows. We get information out there. And if you find it of value, that'd be great of you. It'd be kind and I'd appreciate it. Until next time, be well.
And now, a few extra moments of bonus material from Martial Arts and Life.
Hey, I wanted to take just a extra moment and tell you about an email that I got. And I don't have permission to use the guy's name, so I'm not going to do that. Let me put it this way. I didn't ask. I'm just doing this. So in the interest of privacy, I'm going to not use a name. But here's the email that came in. It said, "Dear Sensei Kris Wilder, your podcast episode, The End of Karate, really resonated with me. A few years ago, I moved from Michigan to Connecticut, and karate classes in my specific style were no longer available. I started studying Chen Tai Chi, and I really like it as a complement to my skills. I was drawn to your podcast because there is very limited discussion about relating martial arts to life in my Tai Chi school. I do it on my own with my Tai Chi because I'm a self-reflective person, and I was brought up in karate to make connections. Your podcast has been wonderful at filling that void for me, and I wanted to write this note to thank you for that. In a way, karate died to me when I moved. Classes and people were no longer down the street. However, in another way, my karate is more alive than ever. My physical alignment is better. My listening skills, both internally and externally, are better. And a little bit of Qigong helps me clear my mind and relax my body, which also aids my karate. Sincerely, and of course we're leaving that blank. What a wonderful note. Thank you for dropping that. Thank you for the listen. And I think importantly, thanks for sharing the journey, because it's just a proof point that we all go through phases of training, and it depends on how we decide to frame the information that we have. Obviously, you chose to frame it in a positive manner and to find the movement forward. Great. I'm confident that this resourcefulness and this ability to see things in this kind of light are attributes that permeate your entire life. And that's really what we're looking for in martial arts, is a high quality of life, more than just a simple existence, and the ability, if we need to go full turbo. What a wonderful letter. Thanks so much for sending it. You know who you are, and I really appreciate it. Until next time, be well. Hey, thanks for sticking around for a little extra. In doing a survey of my listeners, I was not shocked to find a deep level of experience in education. And that's both in the academic and in the real world. So I've added a Patreon page. How do you build that link from having a smart and erudite listening audience to building a Patreon page? Stay with me, I'll tell you. It allows you to access the After Hours Martial Arts and Life podcast. This is a new podcast. This is not a rehash or reposting of old material. It's new, fresh, and only for Patreon supporters. After Hours is well off the grid. The ideas, thoughts, and issues we face as martial artists are simply not meant for a large section of the public. Think of it as a university class. You should have your basics in place before attempting the graduate courses. And you have your general university requirements punched. You see what I did there? Punched. I think that's okay. Anyway, After Hours is easy to access. You just go to Patreon. In the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you just type in my name, Kris Wilder, and of course that's with a K, and you're there. I've posted a free episode for you to take a listen to get a better idea of what you can expect, and then if you like it, you can join. I've posted a free episode so you can get a better idea of what to expect. I think you're going to be surprised at the rate. I think you're going to be surprised at the topics. And I think you're going to enjoy them, and they're going to help you sharpen that edge, that sharp edge that always needs to be honed in regard to our martial arts training, the way we hold ourselves, and the way that we continue to grow and walk down the path of martial arts. So go on over to Patreon. Check it out. Kris Wilder. Take a listen to the free episode. Enjoy.